Your Highnesses, ladies and gentlemen, and Maritime Standard, thank you for allowing me to speak today. Just a little bit short on Lockton. Lockton is a privately owned international broking firm, insurance broking firm with about 12,500 employees. 90% of our income is reinvested into the company. Very short. I'm going to talk about uncertainties, which is not necessarily directly related to shipping, but it has impact on shipping. I've made a timeline from 2015 up to date, and you can see on the first incident in 2015 is the explosion in Lebanon, causing massive disruption for that region, but also globally. We obviously all remember COVID. Seems ages ago, but it's only 5 years ago, causing massive disruption. The beautiful vessel Ever Given, who stopped the opportunity to trade through Suez Canal, causing massive disruption to shipping, where owners would have to either sit and wait at great cost or make a route around the whole of Africa. In 2021, in South Africa, Transnet was subjected to a cyber attack, which forced shutdown of 5 of the ports, Durban being one of them, causing massive disruption to trade around the Cape of Good Hope. And in 2022, following the incidents in Gaza, we have had an ongoing issue with the Red Sea. If we look at costs associated with this, the estimated cost of the incident in Lebanon was around $9 billion. COVID costs the world estimated $412 billion. The closure of the Suez Canal estimated somewhere between $2 billion and numbers are up to $9 billion. The relatively short disruption in South Africa cost $2.7 billion of losses. And up to date, the incidents in Red Sea has cost about $300 billion in trade disruption. If we go a little bit further, natural catastrophes or natural environment has caused, due to El Nino and extreme drought in the Panama Canal, ended up not being able to transport more than about 22% of normal passages through the Panama Canal. We had the Dali hitting in Baltimore, which left a lot of ships on the inside and a lot of ships on the outside until there was a safe passage to get into the port. In 2024, we also had an enormous amount of strikes going on the whole east coast of the US and the Gulf side of the US, causing delays for ship owners, but also costing a lot of money for trades. And in 2025, we had a large amount of port congestions in Europe, which again causes delays. And as you know, we've already touched upon, Navin said very clearly, the routes has an impact on this as well. So what is this number on the bottom here, 2025? Well, that is the US tariffs, which also the Chinese will have counterparts of. Now, the cost estimated just by the drought in the Panama Canal was somewhere in the region of $270 billion. Dali hitting the bridge in Baltimore is estimated to be $10 billion, probably not inflated enough. The port congestions, which was sorted out relatively quickly because of the strikes, cost $2 billion. And the delays in or the over-congestion in the European harbors were estimated to be around $10 billion. The cost of the tariffs, we don't really know yet. The interesting part here, though, is how can you insure yourself against this? Well, there needs to be a peril that can be covered. And very clearly, fire explosion on land is a peril, should be possible to cover against. Suspension of operations as a direct response to a communicable disease is available. It's obviously limited because people are more aware that there might be issues happening, and you can't insure a risk which has already happened, but the future. The total or partial close of navigable waterway is obviously a peril that you can cover. And the use of any computer system, malicious code, virus, or processes is cyber risk insurance. And then you have war and warlike conditions. Well, every ship is covered against the risk of being hit by a missile or hitting a water mine or whatever, but the consequence is not necessarily covered unless you take out a trade disruption cover. If we look at the Panama Canal closure, well, high or low levels of water in any navigable waterway, that's a peril. It should be able to cover against that. Unintentional physical blockage, that is obviously also another peril which you can cover against. Strikes on land is a peril insurable? Not entirely sure what you can do with port congestion, because that happens in ports around the world several times. But introduction of new legislation or regulation is also a peril you should be able to cover against. We need to look forward. And the challenges, and this is not just the tanker industry, but it's the shipping industry in total, we need to appreciate the fact that we will have natural consequences from global warming, which could cause to flooding, it could cause to droughts, as we saw in the Panama Canal. We also have to appreciate with these ongoing global tensions that are happening that there might be companies or countries that seizes or arrests ships, which could inflict loss of vessel, but also loss of income. And then there's always these sort of things. We know there's a risk, and we know what we can do to respond to it. We know there's a risk. We don't know what the consequence is. We don't know what the risk is, and we don't know what the consequences are, which must be a challenging situation. And obviously, the increased focus on environment is something that could have an impact also on the shipping industry. And we've seen several cases of that already. Again, we have perils that you can cover against. So it's worthwhile thinking, if you're very exposed to one part of business, to look at what is the impact if the delivery of the oil from that refinery is inhibited because there's a political motivation or there's other reasons. To look at it, if you're too exposed to one consequence, or you have one client that are important to you, look at a trade disruption policy. They are available, and they are tailor-made specifically to the individual client and their needs. So get in touch. Thank you very much.